We are live. So welcome everyone to this double book launch release party for Regie Cabico's A Rabbit in Search of a Rolex and our very own Drew Pisarra's Fassbinder. Yes, give it up. So my name is Greg Newton. I'm the co-founder of the Bureau of General Services Queer Division, along with my lovely partner, Donna Jokum. And the Bureau is an all-volunteer independent queer bookstore that has been in existence since 2012 and has been here at the LGBT Community Center since 2014. And Drew is actually one of our lovely volunteers. He's here every other Saturday. You can come hang with him tomorrow. If you don't get enough tonight, then more Drew. As an all-volunteer organization, we are in the habit of begging for money with dignity. It's a new addition to the speech. Dignity is fresh. So I'm going to pass it back around. If you're able to throw in something, we appreciate it. If you'd rather support us by buying books, such as Fassbinder or A Rabbit in Search of a Rolex, that would be a lovely thing to do. There's also a QR code on here if you'd like to give through Venmo. So we accept your support in whatever form it may take, even if it's just a smile. But I'll pass this around. And for those of you online, you can make a donation on Venmo at BGSQD. These letters, or those letters. If you're not already on our email list and you would like to be, you can sign up for that at the back of the room or on our website, which is bgsqd.com. And you'll get an email every other Monday about our many upcoming events. And now that it is, well, tomorrow, Pride season officially, we've got a lot on our calendar. So you can check out those events on the website and yeah, you'll see what we're up to. Before I introduce Regie and Drew, I wanted to read a land acknowledgement and a call for a ceasefire in Gaza. So the Bureau acknowledges that our organization operates on the unceded land of the Munsee Lenape. We encourage you to join the Bureau in signing up to make a monthly donation to the American Indian Community Houses Mannahatta Fund. The Mannahatta Fund, according to its website, is an invitation to all settlers and non-native people who wish to acknowledge the legacy of theft and genocide that comprise the history of New York City and the United States. And you can find out more at mannahattafund.org. We also want to recognize that today, May 31st, is the 238th day of Israel's genocidal campaign against the Palestinian people, funded by our tax dollars and enabled by our government's unwavering support. We hope that you will join us in calling for an immediate, permanent ceasefire, an end to the siege, and an end to the occupation in order to stop the collective punishment of Palestinians and to ensure the swift delivery of desperately needed food, water, medicine, fuel, and humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. And now I'm going to read both bios, but Regie will be reading first and then Drew, and then they will be in conversation afterwards. So Regie Cabico is the first openly queer and Asian American poet to win the New Eurekan Poets Cafe Grand Slam. He appeared on some Regie fans in the house. He appeared on HBO, NPR, and TEDx Talk. He is the executive director for A Gathering of the Tribes. Drew Pisarra is the author of 2 sonnet collections, Periodic Boyfriends and Infinity Standing Up, 2 short story collections, You're Pretty Gay, and Public Spanking. And 2 radio plays, The Strange Case of Nick M. and Price in Purgatory. Please give it up for both of them. Let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Greg. Thank you all for coming. I'm really excited to be here because I started to write my first poem in 1993. It is now 2024, and I have this first book that came out. So, and I think a lot of things happened in the pandemic. It was like, Regie should have a book, and we should find a boyfriend. And so those things happened in 20. It just took a pandemic for me to get my shit together. So I'm happy that you're all here. If the pandemic happened, I don't think I'd have a book. So thank you, pandemic, for making that happen. Shout out to Drew Pisarra for all of your support. Shout out to the beautiful people here, Pamela Booker, Sok Song, Javier Cavazos, Aaron Schlaff, Scott Hightower, Michael Broder, Carol Rosenfeld, Bonnie Rose Marcus, Joseph Legaspi, Laura Stapleton in the back, as I can name you all. So I'm going to read one poem that's not in the book, just to let it all out. It's called The Poem That Ends With Too Many Dicks and a Ball, when I thought I'd given up writing about dick for Lent. I'm a recovering queer Catholic altar boy, and so this is so cathartic. My head against the proteas, my eyes to the horizon, my teeth to the hot air balloon, my elbows to the Teslas, my cheekbones to the bird bath, my lungs to the centaurs, my fingers to the ladybugs, my saliva to the Big Dipper, my nipple to the guitar strings that strum arpeggios to fire alarms, my poetry to Technicolor speakeasies, my foot to the mistletoe, my penis to the Supreme Court, my poetic penis to sonatas, my penis in another life to the Egyptian goddess Isis, my penis as it stands to Florida, my penis as it stands to Andrew Scott, my penis as it rests on a plate of penne, patiently waiting for Alfredo. My penis of positivity to the piñatas and cherry blossom chocolate cookies and mocktails and Chippendale strippers and fairy tales and cruise ships sailing past empathetic Vikings. Oh, my penis in the jaws of the moonlit lakes and the gospel shores of slick seals and sperm whales. Let us drive our Trojan horses through the artificial intelligence of our demise before the genetically engineered woolly mammoth meatballs makes it on the McDonald's dollar menu. All right, a rabbit in search of a Rolex, and if you didn't get your swag, you will get a watch with a rabbit so you can keep track of time. Shout out to Saksan for this beautiful swag. So this book, A Rabbit in Search of a Rolex and Other Hyperboles, Mysteries, Parables, and Fantasias. The genesis of this book was written decades ago. I wrote 5-10 prose poems that were meditations on objects. And in October of 2021 at 82060C, I read those poems again, and it had a new life. There was no one reading at that Halloween open mic, so I did a little poetry workshop where people would write in a celebrity, an object in their home, and a place. And so people would write these short prose poems. So I said, why don't you finish what you wanted to do decades ago and write a series of these very short prose poems? In the construction of this book, I had suffered vocal loss during the pandemic. I was teaching so much virtually and in person that the idea of being minimal was really attractive. So at night, I would channel my Frank O'Hara dailiness. I would see what was happening, and I would try to construct at least something in about 5 sentences or less. So what's going to happen is I'm going to read, Drew will read, and then we'll do a little chit chat together, and then we will all kumbaya out into Gay Pride Month. So thank you for coming and being here as the final hours may evaporate. Poetry. I take my poem to a laboratory. It smells like chrysanthemums. A team of doctors wearing gas masks tell me poetry is an equation with a solution. The last line will not save lives. They placed my poem in a beaker. They should have placed it in a porcelain pot. Tooth Fairy. The Tooth Fairy is wearing a bomber jacket and jeans. Are you gay? I ask him. No, he says, I'm a fairy. I offer to buy some teeth from him. For $1, I get a grab bag. Those are my baby teeth, I tell him. Then you can just have them, he says, and disappears. Coffee card. If I purchase 12 cups of coffee, I get one free. The salesman stamps my card off the lines. You ruined my card, I say. He stamps the back of my hand and leads me to the bean room where the 12 apostles do a dance they call the Java. Chocolate martinis. I am on a gondola staring at the sunset. When I open my mouth, a lady's operatic voice comes out. I yawn and a note of doom fills the streets. A disastrous quake hits Rome. I reach for my chocolate martinis, but they're gone. I think the diva drank them. Angelica Film Center. I break through the line and beg the usher to let me in. What show are you watching? It's the film of my life, I cry out, and I think the wrong person is playing me. When I get to the theater, the audience does not recognize me. I find a fresh cup of popcorn and save it for dinner. MetroCard. I am informed that helium balloons will be used to get to Manhattan. The conductor lets me hold onto a long string as my heels skim the East River. If anyone laughs, we will all drown, she warns us. What if we smile? I ask her. If you smile, we will lose air and time, she tells me. Charcuterie board. A boar's head appears on a plate. Flying piglets descend upon the boar and take it towards the sun, piercing the horizon. Stanley Tucci asks, do you know these piglets? I reply, just because I'm Filipino doesn't mean I'm part of the piglet community. Claves. We are sexier than cowbells, yell the rhythm sticks. I love the percussion beauty of bundle twigs that take pride in their beats. Walt Whitman, spitting chia seeds on the grass, says, this is so freaking DC. Monkeypox. It's 'Cause we're gay men that we get our shot first, Anderson Cooper says. No, I tell him, it's the Pride Parade, wearing a leather thong, sucking face with Pokemon. Oh, that was you? Anderson says. Just my face, I say. DuPont Comedy Club. A sparrow claims to be the Twitter bird. Give it the olive branch. I reach for its beak, and my arm becomes a fluffy baguette. The host reminds me of the 2 baguette minimum. I leave the show unpet. Hammock. I have fallen in the universe's hammock. I listen to the trees walk and skip around me. I am the white rabbit in search of a Rolex. I feel the kindness of dice roll around my knees. A few more. Raven. A poet has died. I read it from the angle of moonbeams. Sinead O'Connor sings, "This passing shall hurt you severely." I'd like to learn of a poet's death from ravens delivering me tea cakes and champagne. I see the poet's face in the bathroom mirror. How many poems will it cost to bring you back? This is called Makanda, and let me preface this. The Tagalog word for beautiful is maganda. So every time I heard the word Wakanda, I would think maganda, and it's haunted me. So this is Wakanda. Wakanda, maganda. Wakanda, maganda. Wakanda, maganda. I hear the chanting and drums of my Filipino ancestors. Lapu-Lapu rises from a mist with wings in his feet, splits a bamboo spear where malakas, the strength of wind, and maganda, beauty, emerge. The Wakandans hand me the book of woke to keep me dreaming in gender fluidity. Croissants. I am a croissant in a rehab circle with other pastries. The blueberry muffin discloses their toasted lifestyle. I get triggered by the donut exposing its jelly filling. I have a crush on a churro. Last night, we knocked ourselves into a singular Cinnabon. We're rolling around in butter. Langston Hughes. Blue stars burst in my pants. I tell the poet that his poems have a fierce swing. And you make me explode, says the poet, with a wink, flashing eyes that are bright and gay. I wink back. We survived the dream deferred. A chorus line of dancing raisins sing, "We are the dream." And I'm going to end with 2 more poems, and I will introduce the incredible Drew Pisarra. So, Minotaur. So you're not angry? I asked the beast. Everyone always asks me that. I'm not angry. Let us sort through the labyrinth of your traumas, shall we? The Minotaur unscrews his head as a mumbling of syllables and silver salad servers tumble at my feet. And I will close with this. This poem is dedicated to John Chadwick. My love that I've found in the pandemic, it's called Arboretum. and he's somewhere watching this up in Hudson. So, hey, John. Arboretum. A man I'm smitten by leads me across a meadow. He tells me that he is smitten by me. We stumble on lilac lands. Love is a bit like lilac lands, I tell him. You just never expected to get there till you smell the lilacs together.
Mm.
Thank you. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the author of Fastbinder, his movies, my poems, the incomparable Drew Pisarra, y'all. Pisarra.
You're a tough act to follow. I love you. One more round of applause for Regie Cabico. Martha. Listen, Martha. I know a thing or two about the erotics of self-loathing. I know all about self-inflicted big girl punishment, about the pleasures of penetration. Yes, I said penetration, and how that obliterates feelings of less than by ramming them out of existence. Bam, bam, bam. I know about the masochist deficiencies and the injustices of the sadist who won't validate your worth. You think I don't, Martha? Because I do. Saying that last part out loud sounds ridiculous. Doesn't it, Martha? I mean, I know better than anyone not to romanticize pain, even if knowledge never guarantees a change, not by a long shot. Every fool knows where this crazy shit started and where it's headed, Martha. You do too, Martha. But who wants to hear the ho-hum reasoning of Freud? That same old lame-o excuse about repressed longing turned into some sort of shameful neurosis. Advice is just a cliche with good intentions. I say, make the most of what you've got and get over yourself, Martha. Have a drink, Martha. Laugh it off. Buy a new dress. And yet, sometimes I can't stop myself from recognizing obliteration is the best solution. Call me nuts, but I do think a good hurt is better than nothing at all. Isn't it, Martha? Germany in autumn. You don't want to talk politics. You just want to get in bed, where the politics will play out in weird role-playing games that will land me in some blue state where the bliss floats near the ceiling, somewhat out of reach, but visible to the naked eye, gazing from my naked body, struggling with a naked truth that you're not good for me so much as necessary. Let's blame the darkness on Fassbinder. Love is colder than death, and a recipe for early Fassbinder. Ingredients: 2 cans of black and white film stock, 1 Hannah Shigala, trademarked, 2 petty criminals, shaved, 1 fedora, 4 white corpses, male, 1 white corpse, female, 1 Turkish corpse, male, a dash of Nouvelle Vague, 1 bag of popcorn, salted. Directions. Shoplift ingredients. Beat petty criminals until tender. Sprinkle faces with water. Shoot. Cut. Have a smoke. Repeat. Place Hannah Shigala, trademarked, against a stark white background. Strip. Rope. Slap. Share. Use black market gun to often arch rival, a random waitress, an arms dealer, and 2 undercover cops. See your best friend go down while wearing a fedora. Be dazzling. Escape. Time, 88 minutes. Serve cold. I really wanted to read something that had rhymes in it because, well, especially now, because 2 of the students from my sonnet workshop are here, or 3. So this one's for you guys. This night. And actually, this poem is written about a Fassbinder film that was lost, early film of his. One night, I'll lose my sanity near East 4th Street and Avenue B, naked, in a taxi, slogging through the snow, heading someplace. Where? I don't know. Someplace outside this reality. Too drunk to care, too drunk to flee. I'll lose my lunch. You'll lose your keys. I'll leave when you bid me to go. One night. I'll leave despite snow that's 3 feet high, despite a summoned taxi that won't arrive in the glow of a post-coital blackout so dim it kills the very thirst in me. One night. Gods of the Plague. Take 1. I want you to stare into the camera as if you were burning a hole through paper. Stand over there by that bare white wall and see if you can make me feel something unexpected and sad. Take 2. I need you to let my assistants unbutton your shirt, button by button. Stay indifferent as they pull your pants down, then lie on the bed as if no one were in it, or ever will be, or ever was. Ali, fear eats the soul. I don't know what you see when you look at me, when I'm looking at you, not looking into your eyes that might be deep, deep or kind or dull or dead, not dead to me. No, always dear, my dear. When I look in them, it's as if there's too much there, for I can't say if they see me. Can't see if you see what I'm trying to say, or catch my attempt to relay how I sometimes see a new you behind those eyes, inviting me in, demanding that I stay where I am, being me if I dare, daring me to bear some hidden part that is and isn't quite the heart before your unsparing gaze deftly strips me down to the core again, completely in a glance that may mean no more than nothing at all, yet haunts me with the off chance that you may say the unspeakable now and then quickly look away. At least that's how I feel today. The bitter tears of Petra von Kant. If sadness you must wear, drape it like Halston. Let sorrow hang like a sheath without so much as a bra for support. Sag. Feel worse than the worsted of wolves and cheaper than a Chinatown knockoff? Redress. Accessorize. Get right with stilettos by Jimmy Choo. If tears you must have, let them be teardrop earrings. Being racked with remorse won't excuse an off-the-rack display of your dismay. Speechless with misery, diamond chokers from Tiffany's. Heavy with the weight of it all, new scarves from Hermes. Glamorize your grief, goddammit. Then again, if ever there were a time for polyester, this is it. You can't read. Why should your clothes? This is a longer one that's got 3 sections, so hang in there. Cocaine. 1, optioned. Somewhere in Paris, no less, there's a better version of me, living a life much like mine, but better, by which I mean faster, all-consuming and inherently rich. Also out there is a better you, living a life with me, but better, because this other you can relax into the betterness of better me. Together, our better halves are excelling. They've got no time for people like us, since they're being prolific and doing the all-consuming, and we eat it up. We watch. We watch from the sidelines. We drew with the chalk that we chew on to soothe our stressed out stomachs and to brighten our imperfect teeth. And to be honest, for tonight, we look fabulous. It's way past midnight and our pockets are full of money, our stomachs are empty of food. We're not waiting for a better life, a better me, a better you, or a better poem. We're beyond content, raging against our inhibitions and flying high as the moon over Rome or somewhere. 2, in production. The sleep we sleep is the sleep of a pair enamored of the dream. We hold the fob of a watch and watch as the watch swings to and fro. And then we go to dream the dreams we dream, the dreams of a present unshackled from the past. We handle time with such clumsy hands. Time's own hands unwind counterclockwise, slow. We wake to a living trance in which we await the magician's snap, the obstetric slap, which causes our already opened eyes to see what we already know and what's to be. 3, made. Someday I'll be in the movies. I'll travel to unheard of places and get to know the locals insofar as what and how they serve. Then I will leave. I'll make movies too, write them, direct them. I will be followed by wolves with cameras and swim alongside snakes on the latest next new wave. One day, I'm going to be a movie. I'm going to move at 24 frames per second and spin my own wheels and be fluid, transparent. I'll project fire and burn orange and black until the image disappears, dissolves, and glamorously self-destructs. You know what that's like. And if not, you should. The last poem I want to read is the poem which opens the book. It's a villanelle that's, well, you'll see what it is. It's called Dear Reiner. I've never written a fan letter to anyone. How strange to write one now, even to try. Everyone knows you're dead. Everyone. And yet, if I were to write to someone, why not you? I'm not crazy. That's why I've never written a fan letter to anyone. And writing to you isn't writing to no one. You're still who you are, even when you die. Everyone knows you're dead. Everyone. But dying doesn't mean you're done. Not really. What a lie. Here's another lie. I've never written a fan letter to anyone. Because in truth, I'm writing this one to you. This bit of scribbling on the fly. Everyone knows you're dead. Everyone. What's the point then? There is none. We'll never meet and say hello, goodbye. I've never written a fan letter to anyone. Everyone knows you're dead. Everyone.
So we are not done. That was True Pisarra. One more time for True Pisarra. So, this is a chit chat, question back as we bounce together. And
Yeah.
if I could just start,
Okay.
you were one of the incredible forces to help me finish my book, because I think the reason why I've waited long to publish a book is it's hard to figure out what you want to put in a book. And a lot of what I do is about performance. So I know what I'm performing and I know how those poems are going to land. When you do a book, you just surrender to the universe and it just goes out there. So for me, it was very hard to try to close the poems. But I decided that I would be a project poet and I would just do 50 poems that were short and I would just finish the book that way. And it was still arduous and it was still hard to put together, but I'm just really glad that you inspired me to do that, because your previous books were all sonnets based on the periodic table and guys that you slept with. So I didn't sleep with these poems, but
Maybe.
so just the process in construction, because Fastbinder, it's really amazing how much range you can get out of the films. So I just wanted to talk about the construction of the book, not using the periodic table or guys that you slept with, but Fastbinder was going to be your glue for this. So wanting to hear about that process.
Okay. This book, interestingly, in some ways predates the other books. And I was invited by a woman to read at Cafe, what was it called? Cafe Cornelia? Cornelia Street Cafe, over a decade ago. And it was an old friend of mine from college, and she said, "Do you still write poetry?" And really all of my opportunities have to do with someone asking me a question and me saying yes, even though it's not true yet. So it's like embracing the door that's opening towards you, right? So I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, there's a blizzard coming. The other poet can't make it. Can you come? So I had to write some poems for this reading. And there was a Fassbinder Film Festival in Film Forum at the time. And I had seen a couple of his films before and I had mixed reviews, but it was The Marriage of Maria Brown, which is an amazing film. And it was it was a pretty full theater and I was the only one laughing in the theater because I thought it was hilarious. And I still think it's a comedy, I'm not sure. But then after I wrote that poem, I had to write some more poems for Risa. So I was like, well, look at other Fassbinder movies. And then that just started getting the wheels rolling. Yeah, so that's how the construction of that one came about. I wanted to ask you a question regarding the because I feel like in both of our works, we're very much into finding the gay, right? Like in life, right? Like, and like, I love the Judge Judy poem. Did you?
I
Yeah,
did
so-
not read it.
Okay, can I just spoil it
Yeah.
or should we read it?
Yeah, do you want me to read it?
Yeah, no, read it. It's a short poem,
All
but it's
right.
so good.
This is one of the early ones. Judge Judy. I am taking my mom to court because she never lets me go on field trips. The judge rules in my favor. The child is always right, she says. My mom throws a lollipop at Judge Judy's face. The sheriff peels the sucker to reveal that Judge Judy is really Judy Garland.
So one of the things I love about that poem is that Judge Judy is a gay icon, right? Like she's buddies with RuPaul, we love her. So, and Judy Garland is a gayer icon, right?
Right.
So it was sort of like peeling back the layer to reveal just how gay an icon Judge Judy is. And there are other, like in your book, there are other figures too that are sort of revealed as gay icons that maybe most people wouldn't think of, like Stanley Tucci, right? Like he's a gay icon. Was there anyone when you were working on the book and sort of pulling together your inspirations that you couldn't find the gay behind or wanted to and just or were surprised to find the gay behind?
Well, I think with Judge Judy, I was trying to deal with my Filipino immigrant mother issues.
Okay,
So like that was into
Yeah.
play, but then also the escape
yeah,
that you have with Judge Judy and Judy Garland. So I think that those tensions were all in that little poem. As far as finding the gay, I think that anything can be gay if we want it to be gay.
yeah,
Like I can look at that, I can look at that laptop and make it gay.
yes.
That's gonna be the next gay icon. I think we have the power to gayify anything. And in a poem, I'm gonna gayify you and you and
Yeah.
you. Because I think our job is just to queerify.
I'm with you, 100%.
But as you know, the celebrities would find itself in a self-conscious manner. So you just never know what happens, right?
I like it as a mission. We're gonna queerify.
With the work, and you know, there was a period where I was so gay, and it would just be about blowjobs, and I went through that phase, and then I just decided I went minimal, and I just decided,
Yeah,
let's see what comes out, and see what happens when you have a glass of wine and some indica edibles. It's amazing what you will come up with. And to me, writing this was something that I would do at night.
Mhm.
Especially during the pandemic where the nighttime was the only safe time, we should be under your blanket.
Mm.
And then you could just like scribble and write it. Let me think about what's happening. What did Anderson Cooper say today? And I'm like, am I gonna get monkeypox?
Yeah,
So I think that all of the fears and they were just contained in here.
yeah.
Let me ask you this. These books that you wrote were not conscious decisions. Like it's not like you tripped on them and something triggered. I'm going to do a book about periodic tables. I'm going to do a book about Fastfinder. So I'm going to ask, are you, and Kyle Dargan asked me this question, are you a project poet or are you a poem to poem poet?
I'm a project poet. Yeah,
It is out.
yeah.
Pisarra is a project.
Yeah, it does feel like a confession. I like creating a world. And the world of a single poem isn't enough of a world for me. I want to create all my little Sims, right? My little creatures and whatnot. And give them friends and structures to live in. Yeah.
Now, I know that you love form.
Yeah.
And I did not see a haiku in the book. So I'm curious, did you deliberately say, I'm not gonna do a haiku in this book? Or did you just go random?
Well, I think haikus are hard. Like, we can all write a haiku, a bad one, right? But like a really good haiku is tough. So I haven't written one yet.
Got it.
Yeah.
I have another question, and then you can ask me
Yeah.
one, and then maybe get a few more minutes, and then we can sign books and meet
Yeah.
folks. But there is so much range in this book. There's dramatic monologue in the Maria, the opening poem, and there's also a lot of love poems. Were you writing poems? Did you feel like I needed some other kind of poem in order to finish the book, and what were those poems?
Yeah.
Um,
I would say the beauty of Fassbinder is that his movies are all over the map. So if I was just reacting to each film from an honest place, his work is just so, like, he's got his formalist phase, he's got his, really rough indie phase where he has like just people sitting in front of a camera, that's not moving.
Mhm.
So it felt organic that the poems, I was trying to emulate his experimentation and to like make myself available to trying something new with each one. And also the other thing that was so great about him was, he used to shoot films and just do it in one take. So the actors knew that they had to just let it all hang out. These poems were not written in one sitting. But I did try to embrace that, like going with the impulse, and allowing myself to risk. Like even tonight, because you had mentioned that you had liked the poem Martha, I was like, well, I'm going to start with that one because I don't know if I can do it. And I just wanted to like leap in, right?
Right.
Instead of like making myself comfortable, of just being like, okay, we're going to do this sick poem and just use that as a starting point, right? So
because
it's my turn.
all right.
I get to answer.
All right.
Right?
All right.
Because one of the poems I was really pleased you read tonight is the Minotaur poem. And one of the things I love about that poem too is it starts off as a dialogue between the poet and the Minotaur, the person and the Minotaur, and then it kind of segues into what almost seemed like surreal stage directions. And I was curious, because I know you have a background in theater, like how do you envision like I can see how poetry, well, maybe I should just start with, like, how do you feel that your experiences in the theater shaped your approach as a poet?
It's all theater. Like this is all theater. And so that's sometimes there's dialogue and it's really, really short. Because I'm a part of a theater company called the New York Futurists, we do 2-minute plays. And so learning to adapt poems to stage form in a black box is something that I enjoy doing, like what is the visual. But look, my goal was to try to write something that was substantial, that was like 5 sentences long. And so sometimes you have to use dialogue.
Yeah.
Like I was desperate, so every night I would just try to figure out, maybe this is a little play, or maybe this is a little song. Maybe this is just a Far Side cartoon. Maybe it's just absurd, maybe it's really sad, maybe it's just really weird, but my goal was just to try to finish. So I have to use, if I'm doing lyrics, I'll do lyrics, or if I'm gonna do a small play, it's gonna be a small play. So I think it was like, how do I just finish this? How do I keep moving with this? And then I got to 34 poems, and that's chapbook length. And then I wanted to get to 48. So then when the publisher says you have 1 week to turn this in, I'm like, okay, I can't wait another 30 years for a book. I would just like try to crank out everything.
Yeah.
And then I had 49 poems. And I thought 49 poems is not a good number. So I split the last poem in 2. And so I had 50. So I could be okay with 50
Yeah.
poems, but not 49.
Yeah.
And so I think that might be a good segue.
Okay,
So we're gonna close. Did we wanna close with one of my favorite poems. I know you're influenced by Gertrude Stein. I love repetition.
okay.
There's a poem in the book that I love. It's page 66. It's all about repetition and it's theater in trance. And I think it's really hard to do. We could call it a list poem or a poem full of repetition, just figuring out how many words of beginning are you going to put? How often are you going to repeat this? And how does this have its closure? So the poem is called Theater in Trance, which is also you also play with form here, like there's also screenplay, and there's also this poem. So Theater in Trance. So I know that we wanted to end with Theater in Trance and maybe the last two poems of the book. Did you want to read the last two of my book and then I would read this or reading
Yeah,
this together?
yeah. No, I like that idea.
All right. All right. So here we go. Theater in Trance. You must read this poem aloud for it to work. Think of it as a spell to write the universe or an experiment in a temporal consciousness. Take a breath, then begin. Beginning, the beginning of the beginning of the very beginning, beginning of the very beginning, the beginning of the very beginning, the very beginning of the very beginning, the very beginning of the beginning, the very beginning of beginning, the beginning of beginning, the beginning of beginning, the beginning. Repeat the first stanza or move on to the next. Repetition isn't inherently redundant. Language isn't necessarily thought. This poem isn't about ideas or closure. Choose. Ending. Ending, ending, ending of ending, the ending of ending, the ending of the ending, the very ending of the ending, the very ending of the very ending, the ending of the very ending, the ending of the ending, the ending of ending, the ending, 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 ending. Only from risk rooted in desperation, in which the artist stands to look like a fool and the soul holds its invisible ground, can poetry refine a reason for being. Now, move on.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Do I do this line too, or do I just go through? Do I-
So the question is, there are two titles, genderqueer and multiverse. Why don't you just read the
Straight through?
straight
Skip the
through?
multiple,
Yeah.
Okay. Gender queer. We are solar beams, giving sheen and lusciousness to all we touch. The locks of my black hair, festooned with mandevilla, cascade through the cosmos. Hat tails pop. Silky snow blankets us. We are genderless, bathing in oceans full of clouds. Butterflies and bees buzz and flutter, protecting the earth with a sonic shield from viruses. No amoebas are predators. The owl eggs hatch with empathy.
Thank you all so much. Shout out to BGSUG, the most phenomenal bookstore in the universe. Shout out to Marlo Casino and John Chadwick and the virtual online. Shout out to Tracy from Gathering of the Tribes.
And shout out to Reggie.
You guys want to sign it for kids or?
How about any otherwise? Maybe we could stay here.
Sounds good. Goodbye.